Dan Dickau here for the ISO on the Gonzaga Nation Media Network. Today's quick episode in regards to the recent news coming out of college basketball, in the fact that Jay Wright, the head coach of Villanova, is strongly considering retiring this offseason. That concludes, if that were to be the case, that would be a big-time shocker in the world of college basketball. That would definitely kind of tilt the scales in regards to the Big East, in my opinion. Who would be the power in the Big East? Obviously, Jay Wright has been the head coach at Villanova for nearly 20 years, a number of Final Four runs, including this past season where they made the Final Four somewhat unexpectedly. 2 national titles for Jay Wright as well. He was inducted to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame this past offseason. It leads you to think through a lot of questions that college coaches are having to think through, work through, deal with, and things that they've never had to deal with in the past. I mean, I can only imagine the stress and the difference in how to approach your job as a head coach at a major institution, a Power 5 type school such as Villanova, when you now are talking about bringing in NIL. How do you recruit these players who are probably asking, well, what type of money can I make in the NIL market? You're probably having to worry about re-recruiting your roster nearly every single off season. You're worried about the transfer portal, how to go about best handling players that after you possibly re-recruit them, they leave anyways. How do you replace them? How do you recruit players in the transfer portal that you feel might help, but it might be going against what you told some of your current players that you've developed a relationship with, maybe going back to your time recruiting in them in high school to their first stretches on campus playing for you. There's so many things that college coaches are now having to work through and deal with that they didn't have to even 2-3 years ago. And so that part of me thinks that this new shifting landscape of college basketball might have its first seismic shift in what I feel is a negative way, because Jay Wright, Hall of Fame coach, as mentioned, I think he does, although I've never met him, I know people that have played for him. I know people that have worked with him, and they've said that he's one of the absolute best in the business with everything, with evaluating, with recruiting, with directing a program, with dealing with boosters, with handling the media. And so if this is true, if this is the case, and Jay Wright steps down, it makes you kind of take a step back and say, what truly is going on in college basketball underneath the surface that the casual observer has no clue about, or the insider thinks they know, but then they really don't know what some of these coaches are going through on a near day-to-day basis. Because again, this would be a seismic shift in college basketball. It makes you also think that what other college coach out there that just wants to coach basketball, what other coach is out there that maybe it would be thinking or would do the same thing and say, enough's enough, I'm done, I might go coach at a lower level just for the love of the game. You saw a coach such as Jim Calhoun won a couple national titles at UConn in the Big East years ago. He wrapped up and finished his college coaching career at a Division III in the Northeast because he just wanted to be around the game for the love of it, for the love of helping players improve, just to be around a team. So it's going to be, if this is true, it's going to be interesting to see, one, who replaces him, 2, how Villanova stays at the level that they're at. I don't imagine they would take a huge step back because I'm sure they would hire the correct person to replace him. But then I'm also curious about how this would affect other coaches that might just be within a year or so of these NIL battles, also say enough's enough. This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I got into college basketball. So lots of different things and angles to think about. Obviously, this news just came out in the last half hour or so. So I'm going to be kind of diving in, reading as many articles as I can over the next day or so, and seeing and following the news if it is 100% true, if he is going to step away and retire. And kind of getting a little bit more information, and then it'd be interesting, like I said, to see how this tracks and trends with maybe other coaches, or when he gets down to possibly explaining his reasoning why. And he's a coach that's had tremendous success. He wouldn't have to explain the reasons for him to step away, but if he ever did, it would be fascinating to hear why exactly those reasons may be. So for the ISO on the Gonzaga Nation Media Network, this is Dan Dickau.